Sometimes you have to hit the reset button. Sometimes
life and tragedy and trauma.
Life and tragedy and trauma will reset it for you. And I say blend with and persist rather than resist. So let me paint a container of what this survival-based, sacred and survival-based machine looks like. This concept of ourselves as this machine, as this object relating to other objects, and at the essence of who we are not united. There's a lot of manipulation. There's a lot of compensation. There's a lot of strategy. There's a lot of possession. Possession as security. You possess your girlfriend or your boyfriend. You possess your partner. Form clinging. You cling to this person as your salvation, as your security blanket. There's alienating distrust. Under that, a lot of times there's self-hate, which leads to destructiveness, and that looks like however it looks like in your life. You build perspectives on diluted foundations that are like quicksand. So to maintain your worldview, your perspective, your sense of self, and your fixed identity, it's this constant polishing. It's like this bottomless striving effort, just this frantic effort to recreate the delusion. And you take this delusion and you keep superimposing it onto reality over and over and over. It's this endlessly frustrating task of recreating your illusion or your delusion and living into it. So we could say that is a being, that is a life force, a human being stuck in a neurotic vector, like locked into a neurotic existence where neurosis is the basis of what it means to be a human being. And the best you can do is compensate and delude yourself and find a working relationship with the divorce aspects of your humanity. Because really, you're at war with yourself. Certain aspects of your humanity are at war with other aspects of your humanity because there's a lack of integration. There's a lack of integrity in this sphere. In this neurotic vector, we are ongoing personality projects where we are at the center of the universe. We are the judge of it all. And if we fail to recreate our survival-based fixed identity, that equals death to us. So we frantically compensate and recreate what we think we need to be in order to survive. And a lot of times there's no thriving in that formula. Like Nick Hexum of 311 says, nothing will compare to your realization when you come to find out you're your object of fixation. I've heard that for years and years and years. And it's just now where I can kind of not just know it with my head, but felt knowing. I can feel it with my sentience and my soul. Lastly, on the bad news tip, we take on the role of being a judge of it all, and that becomes like our deepest sense of self in this separate ego, duality entangled kind of level of consciousness. The problem with that is that it's always this accept, grasp, or reject, disassociate kind of game. And there's no end to the game. No end. Because it's all based on subjective judgments. We are subjects of existence. When you think of yourself as being fully informed and given by your judgments, what you accept and try and grasp, what you reject and try and disassociate from, you are freaking divided within over and over, and yes and no and push and pull. No, never find any peace. There's no end to subjective polarity. back to the being divorced to yourself. You're actively divorced to certain aspects of your humanity that are in battle with other aspects. And where is this space in between thoughts? Where is this space in between judgments? Silence, just tuning into what is and what is not, just being, human being. We are not just human doings, but in this trap of this double bind duality entanglement, we forget what we are. We forget how to tune in to what is. One of the reasons is silence is like this mirror. And when you really sit in silence, if you don't fall asleep like my sister would, as she claims, meditation, when you sit in meditation, this practice of just sitting, just being, human being, and not accepting, rejecting, grasping, disassociating, when you can just be with silence, it acts as this mirror. But if at the core of us, if at the core of who we think we are, which, can be in this intellectual, logical, judgmental realm, we don't like that reflection. So what do? Well, we do what we always do. We compensate. We go to our mechanisms that we embody, which a lot of times have to do with productivity and doing, to defend ourselves from ourselves. There's no end to subjective polarity. There's no end to
right, wrong, up, down, left, right, heaven, hell.
Right, wrong, up, down, left, right, heaven, hell. Like it's this flux, this oscillation always. Now, that's not necessarily the problem. The oscillation can be this dance of form and emptiness in the womb of mystery. It can be this dance, this harmony dance. This is the good news. We are all self-secret Buddhas. I remember what I am, self-secret Buddhas. You are the universe and I am the universe. We are all Buddha within. Buddha himself said, when you see the Buddha, kill him. Because there's nothing in reality, nothing in any one person or any one place or any one tree or any one lover that is exclusive to realization and waking up. That would be to cling to form. That would be to localize universal love onto one person and say that that person is my savior. Only that person can unlock me from my hell, my trap, myself. That would be, an obsessed fixation from my experience. We are all self-secret Buddhas because that which enlightens us, that which we awake to is always there. At the end of the Bhagavad Gita, it says, oh, I remember what I am, what I've always been. Which points to the fact that you can't break truth. You can't break the ground of being. You can break yourself away from it. You can actively divorce yourself to it, but the pure substance of what is not, of just blank isness, cannot be broken. That's the great news. So we are all fundamentally self-secret Buddhas. We all have access to this bottomless well of sacred, gushing, unadulterated isness. Another aspect of the good news is that we are fundamentally resilient. How many years and years and years have I been playing these delusional, sacred survival games? This disassociative madness, this dualistic tanglement, this push and pull and reject and accept and recreating this con. Oh God, it's been miserable much of the time. Much of my time has been miserable because I've been trying to insist on delusion, and the delusion is just, it's like quicksand. So I start to think of the resilience, the natural, innate resilience of the human being to go and go. And my life has been beyond privilege. 95% of the planet has had way, way harder times than me and is having way, way harder times than me right now. Untold suffering and trauma. And still that resilience is always there. When you break yourself away from the truth, you don't break the truth. And more good news, what is in your favor. What is not is in your favor. So this would take us to kind of a religious, spiritual realm. And I don't want to go there at the expense of excluding any religion or any point of view or conviction. In my experience, is that the universe is innately embedded with benevolence. And the universe is always trying to succeed. It's opening doors where you didn't even know there were doors. So it's got this like benevolent, this good intention. You get a cut, right? The cut heals on its own. You don't have to think about all the processes and all the millions of years of evolution, of biological evolution that it takes for that cut to heal itself. You'd be wise to choose to aid that process, but that happens on its own. So the universe is trying to heal itself. It's trying to resolve trauma. It's trying to thrive. It's trying to perpetuate and recreate and procreate itself. And you are the universe, and I am the universe. This is just innately embedded in the fabric of biology and spirit and emotion, all of it. It's all embedded with this wants to succeed vibe. You could call that grace. You could call that a miracle. Surviving and thriving is our business. I'm at 22 minutes. This was supposed to be like 8 minutes. So, I do want to acknowledge suffering. Yes, there is suffering many times beyond what we can understand or what we think we can go through. To this, I recommend unconditional love and care. It's beyond our understanding. And it is part of life, this terrible joy, this joyous terror that it is to be a human being. There's a lot of resilience it takes to be a human being. I mean, it's just such a dynamic thing. It's hard to keep your head on your shoulders. So, unconditional love and care and compassion are a blending with the inevitable raging, moving forward that is life. So when you blend with like a surfer on a wave, you can ride the momentum of life. When you resist, you're rigid and stress and all kinds of aches and pains and no freshness and just, calcification, ossification. So blend with and persist. Under every condition, love unconditional. So, in fitness and in death, you stay committed, courageously. And don't trip because the universe is always innately conspiring to succeed. You are the universe. You are the universe. They are the universe. We are the universe. What is in your favor. So when you blend with, the possibility of thriving happens. Forgiveness and compassion are the keys to the kingdom, to the queendom, to the home that you always arise out of. There is this undefinable ground of being which is in your favor, that has always been there. It's always there. It's as ancient gets. You can tune into this. And my commitment is to contribute to this conversation of moving forward and healing and play and elevation of consciousness and discussion of trauma so as to relieve symptoms. Am I making all of this up? It was very hard for me to acknowledge this, and I ended up on the ground freaking moaning myself back to wholeness, just crying, just at the realization, am I making all of this up? Is all this philosophical, sociological, spiritual, Fllow, Leva, Alexis conversation being made up? Yes and no. Yes and no. Why yes? Paint infinity like you will. It's an infinite blank canvas, this life. You know, every day we get up and it's just, the day is pregnant with possibilities, and you choose how to fill it full with your particular fulfillment. So yes, like, I'm creating my reality as I go. And yes, there are parameters, there are boundaries, there are embedded principles to this reality. And then there's a whole bunch of playground, and there's a whole bunch of decisions you have to make, and all those decisions are going to have consequences. So, okay, I'm making a lot of this God talk up. And my relationship with the beloved other, with God, with the source, a lot of it is just me interacting with myself and making it up and, you know, creating it as it works for me to continue my life and to continue my mission, my actualizing my vision. It's you know, psychological compensation, and I get that. And it's kind of hard to realize that, because I wanted to have the truth, and I wanted to have the torch, and I wanted to be better, and I wanted to be the one, and I wanted to be the prophet and the Messiah who got to the bottom of all of it, now has total control over everything. Ooh, not so. You come back to the place where you came from, which is innocent surrender, just being nice. You come back to being nice, and being nice to that which is being nice. We're back to where we started, and what I want to leave you with is this concept of creating your world based on your view, on the word you give yourself to, and the vows that you make. When the universe proposes, I do. And you create your world based on your view. And this view creates this context where certain actions will be illuminated that you can choose to embody, to contribute to your view, to your word, to your vow. And you create your reality within the ecosystem and the womb that we were birthed into. I say, get out there and play and contribute and just create whatever you want to create. And I request that you play nice, that you be nice and be nice to that which is being nice. And the rest, blessed. So I guess that's my long 30-minute book review. The moon and the sun marry. They reflect each other in harmony. You don't have to cage yourself. You don't have to cage anyone. You don't have to be The one who's the most right. The truth. Just, I choose surrender to what is and to what isn't. I choose to live into the belief that there is no separation at essence between you, me, it, bee, tree. That's my vow, and that's what I'm living into. And what's the consequent behavior? Good times, good jokes, good cooking, moving through serious conversations with loved ones, widespread intimacy, crazy connection, joy, some madness, some tears, the whole spectrum of what it means to be a human being and what it is. So I say peace, and I really mean it. Peace. Peace.